defending the run. Like, are guys doing the things that you want them to be showing up where they need to be at?
I think we're becoming much more consistent on it. You know what I mean? Like, again, as a coach, I'm always going to be like, we missed that one play and inside on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? I think we're being consistent with our footwork and seeing our keys. And now I think we're really starting to see guys pull their triggers and react aggressively to what they're seeing. That's that phase we're in right now, and that's why you're seeing some of those guys start to flash a little bit more.
James is a big guy who can run and he collisions.
Yes.
So what are some of the areas that he needs to finer tune?
I think the biggest thing with him is just when things go fast, you know, and take a deep breath. He understands the fundamental pieces. Does that make sense? And what I've been really impressed with is when he does make a mistake now, him and I can talk and he can correct it. Where at the beginning of spring, it was, that was over his head. So, our goal with him is to keep it simple when he's in there. You know what I mean? Because when he goes, he's probably one of our more explosive football players. He's definitely got some ability to be a difference maker out there.
You have a bunch of walk-ons also in your group. Like, I'm sure that will help you, like maybe even special teams or whatever. But what do you think about? Does anybody kind of have a chance to push up into the 2 deep? Or?
I think that's kind of left to be seen. These next 2 scrimmages are going to be really big for some of those guys. Jacob Jordan all showed up at times. Zach Bowers has done some good things. You know what I mean? Obviously, DeVito's been hurt all spring. Spencer showed up a little bit. So, these next 2 scrimmages are going to be really big. I coach them all the same. I don't care if they're scholarship or walk-on. And not to be arrogant, but you can just check the track record of some of the guys I've coached. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? And I think in a good way, some of those guys are getting used to it. They're getting treated exactly the same. You know what I mean? And some of the times they're getting the same amount of reps.
You were so successful last year, you and Brian, with what you did defensively at Washington State. Like, how did what you were seeing there in the spring last year compared to kind of what we're seeing now?
I mean, that's different because while Brian was new, that culture, B, that defense, that was the 3rd year it had been there. You know what I mean? So I think you're really looking at apples and oranges. You were talking about a group of young men that had gone through a lot with each other and stuck together, and I really understood the defense, what worked, what was hard on them. You know what I mean? They understood the strengths and weaknesses. So I think we're in really 2 different spots. We're in the midst of growing and building that foundation here at Arizona State.
You mentioned Kenny earlier, kind of about that part of it. What's his sort of unique way of?
He's awesome because he does such a good job. Like, he's one of the better head coaches I've been around as far as seeing a big picture, understanding what the offense needs, what the defense needs. He's constantly preaching about scenarios, and the guys have an understanding the scenarios with their football IQs. And he comes in and challenges us on stuff and what can we do better, and the same token understands what we do. So he's really good. He's really supportive of, I think, the defensive players, the defensive staff. Like, to me, when you watch practice, I can't tell if he's an offensive or defensive coach. I've always thought that's the kind of side of a good head coach. He sees the big picture and just wants the best for both.
You start looking at, you're saying about communication and chemistry. From day one till now, even with the install, a lot of new guys. But how do you feel that communication? With the just defense in general has grown from the first spring practice until now.
It's becoming more consistent. There's still things. There were some busts in the red zone today that were based on communication that we got to continue to clean up. But they're getting better at it slowly but surely. And again, I'll credit what this group has done a good job so far is they're pretty coachable. You go into the meeting room and we go through a correction walkthrough and they see it and they really work to try to correct it, if that makes sense. And so that's what, as a coach, you look at, okay, we have a chance to be successful because they will take the corrections, learn from them, and keep growing.
And then within that, with that too, obviously it's always hear defense, everybody doing their job. The secondary, if they don't have to cover for long because the D-line's getting there.
Sure.
But just overall, how the linebackers and secondary have played, because they're going up against obviously some good receivers, big tight ends.
Hey, there's some talented skill guys. They are some very, very talented skill guys, which, iron sharpens iron. You know what I mean? That's Proverbs, and that's real. And the better looks we're going against, I think the better it's going to make this whole team. You know what I mean? I think that certainly the speed and the explosiveness that we're seeing at the skill positions on offense, the quarterbacks, the O-line, like that's making us better as a defense. And hopefully as a defense, we're giving them a hard time and sharpening them and making them better as well.
I think Mason's hit on Saturday to get a kind of a fumble.
That was explosive, man. You love to see that, and you love to see the excitement from his teammates. We've really been preaching being more excited for someone else's success than your own. So, I was more looking at the sideline, and you see all these guys that are excited and fired up, and when you have a passion for your teammates' success, then there's going to be plenty to go around for everybody.
Thank